systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, Ship It Nation YouTube station? Back with my guy Gyiraszin, like we are each and every Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon. An hour later, appreciate Gyiraszin being flexible and compensated for my schedule there. But hey, rinse and repeat. We got 7 games, not 9 games like we had yesterday. But same thing, Coors Field, Vegas, and then it's one pitcher that everybody wants to play, maybe a second guy, but he's expensive, so might be fairly hard to fit him in with some of those expensive bats. We got a 14.5 game total out there in Vegas, 104 degrees with double-digit wind blowing out the entire duration of the game, and we're at the back half of the rotations again, Gyiraszin here. So it's pretty much how can you afford either the Cubs or the Brewers and the A's, and then how are you gonna attack the pitching? Are you gonna eat Reid Detmers chalk? Are you not? It's very hard to kind of ignore in his matchup there. So it's pretty cut and dry slate. It's really good hitting weather again in Kansas City. There's some weather issues there as well, but it is hot and humid. Wind is howling out in that ballpark there. So from a weather standpoint, just off the top, Texas and Kansas City is yellow-orange. Atlanta and the White Sox is yellow-orange as well. Those are the 2 main spots to definitely pay attention to. Luckily, they're kind of in that 640 range, so we should know fairly early what the status of those games is going to be. And again, you still have 3 games late, which is probably the 3 most important games on the slate to pivot to. So you can definitely make changes around there, but do have to monitor those 2 spots for sure. Gyiraszin, I'll bring you in, man. How was your last night? Vegas game let everyone down, quote unquote, but it still went off for however many runs, 6 home runs total. And that's a letdown, right? For most people there. So people are saying, hey, this park sucks now. They didn't hit 11 home runs. They only hit 6, but you put that up against normal baseball parks. Not too many teams are hitting 6 home runs between the 2 of them in a game on a usual Tuesday night or Wednesday night, whenever they're playing. So right back to the well for me here tonight. But what are you doing? How's your night last night, and how's your Wednesday been so far?
I can't complain. Had a little summer bowling league. It was hot as shit in there, Nades. It was like the damn windows, like I was in some kind of weed grow house. It was like an inch of freaking frost on the damn windows. So that kind of sucked. But it's been hot as balls out here in Michigan. It ain't even right, man. Like you start sweating, you just walk outside. It's like all these fat people walking around got, under titty sweat going, Nades and everything else. It's fucking disgusting. But either way, overall, good night last night. I mean, you talk about that Vegas game. Dude, the A's hit 5 home runs, man. Like the Brewer Churio hit one in the first inning. I was like, oh, here we go. Softball game again. But, yeah, I mean, they only got 12 runs last night, but it did hit 6 homers. But it just goes to show you. I mean, they had 7 runs, they had 6 homers, but they still were on the winner. I mean, the A's were still the winner in the contest I was in. So, and then you obviously had to have Matt Olson, who literally you called yesterday to hit a home run, end up hitting 2 bombs yesterday and got 44 some points on FanDuel. So we talked a little bit about the Braves. So the Braves stack, and I know there was, I think it was the Braves and the Reds actually took down the tournament I was in yesterday. So didn't even really get a part of that game, but the A's were a big part of everything last night. They were still up there with all, everything. I cashed a couple times with the A's. I had 2 lineups, missed the one with A's and Cubs, but I did get one with A's and Brewers because I had Churio. So I actually captured almost all of them homers except for the Heim one. I don't think I got that one. But either way, I mean, a lot of fun in the middle of summertime here in baseball. We got this hot temperature. And, this Vegas, it's a cool looking stadium, man, when you watch it with the mountain behind it and stuff. I mean, it looks pretty sweet, but I don't know about you, Nades. I would not be happy going outside in 105 damn degrees to watch a baseball game, like, and be around a bunch of people. And like, no, man, like, I'm just not even wanting to go there. Like, I'd just rather sit home in the AC and watch it. Like, I wouldn't be going out that way. I mean, to me, do you mean, I kind of think then if they're going to play baseball in the summer in Vegas, they need a dome. Like, they need it to be inside in some air conditioning. It's going to be hot as damn balls over there.
Yeah, I mean, the forecast for that game here tonight, 104 at first pitch, 6 p.m. local time.
Damn.
99 an hour after that, 95 by the end of the game, with 11 to 15 mile an hour winds blowing straight out to center field the whole day.
It's like an oven blowing on you. Turn on the oven and blowing the heat at you all damn day.
Yeah, and then guess what? Here you go. Go pitch in this, get extra fatigued, and oh, by the way, there's wind blowing out in this Cracker Jack Park. So here you go. Have fun, and guess the A's are throwing a bullpen guy, right, who probably has a 5-pitch or a 5-inning maximum. And then you got that A's bullpen and the Brewers bullpen who are super taxed from the first 2 games, right? So it's very, very hard to get away from that game. Obviously, we're kind of kicking off the show talking about one of the last games, but it's the most important game on the slate. We got our Slate station up here. Again, I talk about this all the time. This is literally a one-stop shop, everything you need. And then pair that with this right here, the Stone, and you have everything you need, Gyiraszin, to really be competitive, to be honest, in each baseball slate there is. You got the different, right, the early content I threw up on here. Drew Rasmussen dropped a 47 piece or something like that. So that was fun to see. But yeah, we got the turbo slates, the DK main. And really, I mean, no matter when you look at this throughout the day, soon as we run our first set of projections and all the metrics behind, this Slate station populates, right? So this added benefit for everyone who's a member over at Ship It Nation. You can get a good start at it. And then after the show summary will populate down here underneath the slate breakdown and kind of give you the AI summary of this show. So if you don't have the time there to watch it as well. But absolutely love the Slate station. Got the weather on here as well with, like I said, the API that pulls in from Kevin Roth. You see these 2 games that I already mentioned, right? The Atlanta and the White Sox, and then the Texas and the Royals there. So you can just hover over. It'll pull exactly what Kevin Roth said on his site over there at Prop Finder. And then gives you the values, hitters, everything. And the best part is you're looking for some home run targets. Well, filter right to home run radar. You see there, you filter to who's been hot lately. Shows you, okay, these 9 hitters have been hot. Speak about a guy who's insane, Mauricio Dubon. You can click on their names, right? Hyperlink, see their last 5 fantasy points, get a little summary of kind of what they're hitting, pitching, same thing. You can click on their name, talks about the recent form, all their kind of expected ERA numbers, things like that. So absolutely love the Slate station here. So we're going to keep showing this off as we do these shows. And the best part I say, right, Gyiraszin, is we talk about the no fun job getting in the way. We know majority of our member base, right, works a 9 to 5, has family, has wife and kids, things like that at home, or even in college, in school. Obviously, it's the summer now, but you have stuff going on, and a lot of people don't have all day to research stuff. We do the research, we do the process behind the scenes and kind of spoon feed you the information to then where you can go ahead and make the decisions and start applying your knowledge that you have combined with the tools here. So absolutely love it. And we designed this really to make it simple for people to build lineups, to be competitive, that don't have a lot of time, get home from work, still have about an hour or 30, 40 minutes before the slate locks after dinner and things like that. And you can come in here, check it out, listen to us, see the show summary, things like that. So let's jump right in, talk pitching here. We got Chris Sale all the way up at the top at 11K. Shota Imanaga pitching in Coors Field at 8K. We'll kind of break this into 2 tiers here. Gyiraszin, we'll go 8K and above, so the 5 arms above 8K. Imanaga up to Chris Sale, and then we'll talk about the value tier below 8K, which obviously Reid, Detmers, Mackenzie Gore, Palante, things like that are going to come into talk there. But up at the top, for me, it seems like if you have the salary and you can get up to Chris Sale, do it. He's going to be probably lower owned than a guy like Jesus Luzardo because of the salary difference. I think this is kind of the similar to the Monday spot, right, where Christopher Sanchez was priced way up. Everybody still wanted Coors. They still wanted that Vegas game, but you really needed to spend up to Christopher Sanchez. And that's kind of how I see Chris Sale here tonight in the White Sox. There is some weather risk there. So you are going to have to monitor that. And hopefully if that game gets delayed or pushed back, that would be ideal because you don't want Chris Sale going out there pitching 2-3 innings and then the rain delay coming. He gets the hook. He's definitely not going to pay off that $11K salary. So there is some slight risk, right, to worry about with Chris Sale. Davis Martin in that same game on the other side, 9,500. He's been absolutely elite this year. Tough matchup, though, against the Braves, who have been one of the better offenses in baseball. Luzardo gets a low strikeout matchup against the Blue Jays, but he's 8,500. He's probably going to be the cash game pairing with a guy like Reid Detmers. But break down this top tier here. Imanaga, Lambert, Luzardo, Martin, Chris Sale. How do you rank these guys?
Yeah, Nades, I mean, it's pretty tough to be wanting to play Shootout over there in Coors Field. I mean, especially with the home run issues he's been having lately. I mean, the dude's given up a dozen home runs or so in his last handful of starts. So that's definitely concerning. I mean, it's 4 homers, 3 homers, 3 homers in his last few starts. Now he's going out to Coors Field. I mean, that's definitely kind of scary for me. I mean, I really don't even have him in my pool, to be honest with you. I would just X him out. We kind of were a little concerned with him last time. He actually came out the gate, looked pretty decent. And then toward the end of his start there, I feel like they kind of left him out there a little too long because he gave up like back-to-back homers, like right before they pulled him. Because I do recall watching that game. But he's definitely a concern for me. Lambert, I'm not really interested in Lambert. I think there's some better opportunities you can have. Lambert, 22% K rate. He does have the Angels, which I don't mind. I don't know. I'm not really a fan of it here. I mean, I do like attacking the Angels with some righties because they do have some strikeouts in that lineup. But Lambert's strikeout rate to righties is only 16.5%. So that does concern me a little bit as well, Nate. So he's concerning. Luzardo now. I mean, my brain tells me anytime I see against a Blue Jay team, like I'm just kind of worried about that. Like it's just a team like I generally don't attack for strikeouts. And, but Luzardo's price at 8,500 isn't bad. I mean, you look at his starts, he did get blown up last time. He had 5 earned runs, gave up 3 homers, but pretty much the last handful of starts before that, he was right around 6 Ks almost every start. So as long as he's not giving up to 4 or 5 earned runs, Nate, he's been right around the high teens, low 20s for point total. So, at 8,500, would I take that on a slate today that I want to get some bats? Yeah, sure, absolutely. But for the difference that you have, like when you move up to Martin, who's 1,000 more. I mean, I like Martin. I just don't like the matchup he's got against the best team in baseball at this point, which is the Braves. And the Braves been smashing the shit out of the baseball. I mean, Martin did get beat up the last time out. He gave up 10 hits, 6 earned runs, and now he's going to face a Braves team. And you want me to pay, 9,500. I'd rather go down to Luzardo, to tell you the truth. So I think that's why Luzardo is definitely in play. Chris Sale by far is the best choice here tonight. You get in Atlanta going into the White Sox. You know damn well Chris Sale's fired up to pitch against the White Sox today. Why wouldn't he? I mean, that guy will pitch for the White Sox organization for a long time. I'm still sure there's people there that were there when he was there. So kind of a bit of a long lost homecoming there for Mr. Sale. I'm going to assume he's going to be on point here tonight. So Chris Sale, for me, if you can get up to him on both sites, are good. Now, FanDuel has the 4 games at 635 and includes Shohei Ohtani. So Shohei would be in there as well. So over on FanDuel, I kind of like Shohei. But Nade's up top, man. Sale by far. And then I think I'd go Luzardo. And then, I guess if you're asking me between these other guys, I guess between Martin and Lambert, I don't really care. I guess I'd probably go Martin over Lambert just because it's low strikeout rate to righties, which is which what we're looking for against the Angels. But man, I'm staying away from Imamaga in Coors. I don't know. I don't like that at all, Nades. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, no, I agree with a lot of what you said. So for me, it's Chris Sale, number one. If you can get up to him. Probably not going. It's tough, right? Because majority of Chris Sale teams are going to have the Texas bats because of their salary relief. So I just ran 150 teams, right? In the 57 Chris Sale teams, almost 90% of them was Texas, and 60% of that being a 5-man Texas stack. So if you play Chris Sale, if you just play a different team, right, than Texas, the value bats in Texas, maybe like you play the back half of the A's lineup or the Brewers lineup, right? You play 5 through 9 where, yeah, they're still fairly expensive, but they're a lot, number one, lower owned, and they're more affordable than the top half, right? And it feels gross, but again, that stadium's the launch pad for everyone hitting the ball. And who's to say that Yelich, Churio, the guys at the top, yeah, if they don't absolutely go crazy, you're different, and you can afford the probably the highest likelihood of a ceiling on the slate from the pitching perspective. So for me, Chris Sale, clear cut SP1 for me on this slate. Luzardo would be the de facto number 2. If I'm playing Luzardo, I kind of like pairing Luzardo or playing Luzardo and not using Reid Detmers with him, just because I think so you're going to see so many teams here tonight with Jesus Luzardo, Reid Detmers, Texas, and that Vegas game or the Coors Field game, right? It's going to be Texas minis with probably 5-man stacks of either the Cubs, the Brewers, or the A's, with the A's and the Cubs kind of leading the charge there. So if I'm playing Luzardo, I'd probably rather either pair him up with a guy like Chris Sale or pivot off of Detmers to some of the guys we're going to talk about next when we get down below the tier. He is number 2 for me. Peter Lambert, I have more interest than you do. He's my 3rd favorite up here. I'm not really messing with Imanaga. He's a fly ball guy in Coors. It's 80-something degrees there. Really good hitting environment. He's given up like 5, 6, or 7 earned runs in his last 3. I was just kind of looking into some of his FanGraph stuff. His velocity seems to be there. It's just more of he's a fly ball guy. It's getting hotter, and we've seen the same thing happen last year, Gyiraszin. Imanaga, everyone was crowning him Cy Young when he's pitching in April and May when it's 40 degrees with 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing in Wrigley, right? And now we're getting hotter weather. You look at his last couple starts, 6 earned runs, 5 earned runs, 7 earned runs, right, with home runs given up because his fly balls are now not dying at the wall or the ivy in Wrigley Field. They're going over the fence, right? So I struggle with a guy like Imanaga, and I'd rather just take a shot on a guy like Peter Lambert. 8,200. It's a righty against the Angels there, and from the props standpoint, you look at Peter Lambert's props on this slate, 4.5K prop juice to the over, which is right there in line with the chalk of the slate in Reid Detmers, who's 6.5. But outside of that, besides Chris Sale, everyone's sitting in that 4.5 or 3.5K prop range besides Jesus Luzardo, right? So he's right in line with those guys. I think he's an interesting tournament pivot. So I rank the top tier. Chris Sale, Luzardo, Peter Lambert are kind of the 3 guys I'm playing. I'm not really messing with the $9,500 Davis Martin, even at no ownership. I don't really want to get there because I want to spend up for bats. And then Imanaga, I think you could leave in the pool because 8K is a fairly cheap price point for him. He's not going to get a lot of ownership, but I don't love it. I'd rather just spend $200 less to get to a guy like Mackenzie Gore or something like that. So I'm out on Imanaga. And yeah, let's drop down here and talk about the lower tier below 8K. Definitely headlined by Reid Detmers, the highest owned pitcher on the slate. Single entry stuff like the 121 tonight. Reid Detmers is going to be 70% owned. He just is. And then it's going to be Luzardo and it's either going to be Luzardo and Chris Sale. So those are the 3 guys in kind of the single entry cash game stuff. Hard to argue, right? Reid Detmers, he's a good pitcher. He gets the Astros here, pitching at home. I really like Mackenzie Gore as kind of a value guy right there as kind of a pivot off of Reid Detmers. And then Palante is pretty interesting to me. 6,800. He's not a great arm by any means, but he's going to keep the ball on the ground. The Mets are atrocious. Dustin May just carved this team up yesterday. Palante, I think Palante can go like 6-7 innings for us, get us 4 or 5 strikeouts and keep the ball on the ground and potentially get a quality start there. So at 6,800 on a slate when we got a 14.5 game total out in Vegas, I think he's an interesting play for me, and I'm definitely gonna play him. He's not going to be unowned by any means, but again, I think he's interesting, and he's a nice pivot off a guy like Reid Detmers. But break down this lower tier. Any other guys that you want to mention as well?
Yeah, I think you hit some of the guys definitely that we're looking at. But the pricing between the two sites is amazing to me. I mean, you look over at FanDuel, they got Reid Detmers, the 4th highest priced pitcher. They got Palante, the 6th highest. Palante and Detmers are higher priced than Shota. So, I mean, and Luzardo and Gore. I mean, it's like totally different. So I kind of like those guys a little bit more on DK than I do on FanDuel. But, just looking at what we have here with Reid Detmers and why he's going to be so popular. I mean, his last 3 starts, he's been amazing. 23 points, 18 points, 43 points. I mean, he had a 14 strikeout game here not too long ago. I mean, and then followed up with 6 and 7. So Detmers is definitely going to be definitely going to be high. And I feel he's mispriced. I mean, he's definitely mispriced. I mean, I like Reid Detmers. I think this is one that, if you're asking me between Detmers and Chris Sale, I mean, it's really tough, but considering I want to pay out for some bats today, I think I'd like Detmers a little bit more than I do Chris Sale. So just because it's going to help me to get some of those bats. So I think Detmers is a great SP1, especially at the price, looking at what you want. And I'm not, afraid to use Palante. As you said, Palante is 9,900 over on FanDuel today. They got him pretty high up. You got a ground ball guy, as you mentioned, against a Mets team that we definitely like to pick on. We're not really going to be chasing the strikeouts. What we're chasing is a quality start, and Palante's been damn good getting quality starts. I want to say he's had quality starts like his last 6 out of 8 starts or something like that. So he's looked pretty good. I mean, he ain't pounding the strikeouts, but I mean, the out total's definitely there. I think he's definitely in play especially on DK at 6,800. Scherzer, man, that's kind of hard. I don't think I could go there. If I'm playing deep pool, I might leave Max in my pool, but the other guys down below, I'm not really all that interested in. I'd maybe have a little interest in Mackenzie Gore, just because he's Mackenzie Gore and he's looked pretty good. And it's, he's either been absolute trash or he's getting you 23, 24, 25 points. I mean, it's 0 or 5 or, and he's been pretty good the last 3 out of 5 starts, and 2 starts he's been trash. But I think he'd be in play too for me against a Kansas City team. But in reality, for me on DK, I think I'd have a little shorter pool. I think I would definitely be looking at Luzardo, Chris Sale, Detmers, and Palante would probably be my main guys on DK. I think on FanDuel, I would also add in, I have Sale and Shohei about right even. But, I mean, as far as other guys, I think I like Luzardo, Gore a little bit more. I throw in Kirby and Framber in there too, or a couple guys that are fairly cheap that I'd consider on FanDuel. But, yeah, the pricing's quite different between the two sites for some of these guys, that's for sure. But, Nades, I mean, to me, if you can get up to Sale, go for it. But to me, I want to kind of concentrate in these games that the offense outside of the 2 games that we were kind of focused on yesterday and now today, I don't think the offense is as good surrounding it as it was yesterday. So I think I'm going to have more of a focus, even though I told y'all yesterday I was all in on that Vegas game, and I still am. I think that was the floor game you saw yesterday, and there was still 6 homers, 5 by 1 team. So to me, I mean, that was the floor game. Like, to me, I think it's going to be higher scoring than the 12 today. I think it'll go over today. Of course, they had one game that barely didn't make it over. Of course. So, but yeah, I think that's the game I'm gonna focus on. And I kind of like some Rockies against Shota. I mean, the dude's been giving up homers. I like the Rockies a lot more than I did yesterday. I do like some of them Cubbies. So I think all 4 of those teams are definitely in play again today. And I'm just going to make my lineups out of those 4 teams, kind of avoid some pinch hit risk. We saw yesterday what ended up happening. Top of that lineup for the A's, we end up seeing him get pinch hit for Lawrence Butler. But, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm going to be thinking about today. Get a little different with my pitching over there. I'm not going to be afraid. I think there's some better options down below than there was yesterday because we got Detmers, and I'm not afraid to use Palante on a slate like this where I'm not really afraid of getting beat by the strikeouts today other than Sale. So everybody on DK is going to have to make a second choice. And I think that's where, I think I'd be a little bit more be willing to be more chalkier at pitching and maybe use Reid and not really concerned about that just because I can get different with some bats.
Yeah, no, I like a lot of what you said. So I think David Peterson comes into the mix a little bit too, just because he's another ground ball guy. Citi Field's not a great hitter's ballpark there. I know there's a little weather risk there, but in retrospect to the slate at hand here in the other ballparks, I mean, 80 degrees or mid 70s looks a lot better than 110 in Vegas or Coors Field at that. I know there's some slight wind blowing out, but every park is going to play above average. And I'm looking at a law of averages and just know that this is a better ballpark for pitching. Historically, the weather's not going to affect it that much. Peterson can keep the ball on the ground. He's a cheap pivot off of a guy like Reid Detmers there. So I don't hate him. Does help the case that he is going to have an opener in front of him. So he gets through guys like Ivan Herrera, Jordan Walker, stuff like that up at the top. And he can kind of start his run with the back half of that Cardinals lineup where we know it is not great. So I think he's a little interesting as well. But for me, down low, it's definitely Reid Detmers, obviously. But I am a little worried about Detmers. The thing with him, though, is you're like, well, it's a lefty against the Astros. The issue is Detmers is better against the right side than he is the left side, right? So he's got almost a 30% strikeout rate against righties, even pitching from the left side. Can the Astros get to him? Sure, absolutely. But the only really argument you're making on the slate is just the ownership against him. The K-prop matches it up, all of his props, everything. That's why you see the projection what it is. He is underpriced for the current form of Reid Detmers. I am worried on how you use him, right? So I probably wouldn't play him personally myself with a guy like Jesus Luzardo just because every team, or even Chris Sale, right? If I'm using Reid Detmers, maybe I go Reid Detmers as my SP1, and then I play a guy like Andre Palante, or I play a guy like Mackenzie Gore, something like that, or a David Peterson, right? And use kind of Reid Detmers as my highest priced pitcher, or right there in line with Mackenzie Gore's salary, and you just fade the entire upper 8K range all together, and now you're different, right? But you still played Reid Detmers as kind of the focal piece, right? So just a little more game theory talking about that. It's hard to argue the spot that he's in. David Peterson, Palante, Mackenzie Gore, the other guys I'm looking at in this lower tier. I'm not messing with Max Scherzer. I actually like some Phillies against him as kind of a lower owned offense on this slate. Again, pretty condensed pitcher pool in general. And same thing on the offensive side when we jump over here and talk stacks. Obviously, we got the stacks here, but we're going to go over and share our other premium tool here, the Stone. First game on the main slate here is up in Toronto. Max Scherzer on the mound, who's been absolutely horrendous. I think his kind of career, a great one at that, has kind of come to an end here. And he's kind of just sleepwalking out there and kind of just strutting out there. I don't think he's a major league caliber pitcher at this point anymore. I think he's done. I mean, he's getting hit hard from both sides of the plate. Doesn't have the strikeout stuff. He's getting barreled up. I mean, I think the Phillies are in conversation here for one of the offenses that could match the upside. I kind of see them as like the Braves yesterday, Gyiraszin. I think the Phillies are pretty damn sneaky here tonight. Schwarber, Harper, Brandon Marsh, who's been on a tear, and they're affordable. I mean, outside of Schwarber, Harper, I mean, they're cheap. Yeah, Trey Turner's $5K, but I don't love playing Trey Turner anyways when I play the Phillies. I think the Phillies are pretty damn interesting here. Lefties historically got to Scherzer, so Schwarber, Harper, Marsh, I think those guys look really good. Bryson Stott, you got a cheap second baseman where everyone's going to pay up to a guy like Bryce Turang. Justin Crawford has some speed down there as well. It doesn't really have the home run upside, but at 3K, he can get you a stolen base, a single, right? You're looking at 10 points there. I think the Phillies fit the script as probably my favorite sneaky offense on the slate because they're going to be significantly lower owned than the Texas team, who everyone's going to go to pair up with one of the A's, the Brewers, or the Cubbies. Sign me up for some Phillies here against Max Scherzer. I know the Blue Jays bullpen's good behind him, but you'll probably see the lesser arms out of that pen if they jump on Max Scherzer here, and I think there's a good chance that they can jump on him. What do you see here?
Yeah, I mean, Max has been terrible against lefties. I mean, shit, he's got an 8.5% strikeout rate. That's just awful. I feel bad for the dude. Maybe it's just time to hang it up, Max. But how many dogs in this country are named Max that got a blue eye and a brown eye? You know, like they're all probably named Max. I've met a few in my time, especially here in Detroit, him being here in Detroit, but I always get a chuckle out of that. You always see a dog, usually named Max. I always laugh. But either way, Max has been bad. I mean, shit, his WOBA is 432 to the left side. I mean, he's been getting barreled up 15%. I mean, we already know. I mean, the Phillies got the lefties that can deal with that. Schwarber is, just a walking home run machine. Harper is there. Marsh is in play. Stott. All these guys are in play. But as you mentioned, I'm just concerned they're not going to leave Max out there too long, let him get his ass kicked. I mean, he's gone 2 innings, 6 innings, 2 innings. In 2 innings, his last 4. So 3 of his 4 starts, he's only gone 2 innings, right? So I'm literally concerned that bullpen will be coming in 3rd inning, and now it's kind of, door shut time. So we don't have, a good a time as we're going to have with Max pitching. So, I don't think you're going to see too many of these guys get too many at-bats against Max. He may be lucky to see Schwarber for the 2nd time. So, that would be my concern, that you're going to be facing a good portion of this game against one of the best bullpens in baseball. So that is a little bit of my concern. But yeah, I mean, they're definitely in play today. That's for sure. As far as the other side of it against Luzardo, I mean, if you wanted to look at anything to maybe attack, I mean, the fly ball percentage is a little higher to the right side at 24%, but he's not giving up any fly balls to the left side. He's not getting barreled up hardly at all. I mean, it's a pretty tough go. I mean, if you wanted to maybe try to play somebody for some leverage, if you wanted to go that route, maybe George Springer, top of that lineup, you wanted to go there, Guerrero, maybe you could look at something like that. Guerrero's got a pretty good WOBA against left-handed pitching so far this year. But, maybe if you want a little leverage, you could look at some Blue Jays. I don't love it. Like I said, I do really like the matchup with the Phillies against Max, but I'm just really concerned with him not getting any more than 2 innings out of his 3 or 4 starts. 17 earned runs in 10 innings, 2 nades. He's been bad, man, real bad.
Yeah, he's been horrendous and given up 6 home runs as well. Even to a team like Cleveland, right, the Guardians, who don't hit home runs usually, they hit them for 3. So I don't know. I think it's pretty interesting. And then, I mean, you're not going to see the best arms, right? In Max's last start, Manably came in. He's sitting around a 4 ERA. I mean, Miles came in. He's sitting around a 4 ERA. Nance came in. He's sitting around a 6. Flaherty, I mean, so you're not going to see the straight, I mean, great arms. There is some risk for sure, but on a slate where everything feels so cut and dry from the pitching standpoint and the 4 offenses, you can definitely play it that way. But I think taking a shot on some of these Phillies is definitely interesting overall. And looking at the bullpen as well, the bullpen usage here from Toronto, Varland's probably going to be unavailable. He threw 8-17 on Saturday and Sunday, didn't pitch on Monday, but threw 16 again yesterday. They could roll him out there again, but again, you're probably going to see the lesser arms of this bullpen, and they're probably going to bring in a guy like Spencer Miles, who is a righty, who kind of goes out there for bulk relief. So I would expect it to go Max and then probably Spencer Miles, who he's kind of just an average arm. I mean, 1.11 whip, 3.54 ERA, still throws from the right side. So you still have the lefty platoon there. So I think the Phillies, I have a little more interest than you. And I think they're a high upside offense that could match the production of the other spots on the slate. Not messing with any Blue Jays for me. If you wanted to pull off Okamoto, Ernie Clement, who's been red hot, George Springer against the lefty, you could do it, but I don't really have any interest from a stacking perspective. Same spot in this other game here. Cardinals and the Mets, David Peterson, Palante on the mound. 2 ground ball guys here. Peterson's going to be the projected long reliever here coming in after the Mets throw an opener out there. Definitely downgrades the stack in general against the Cardinals. Burleson, Jordan Walker, I think are 2 guys that you could play. Newt Bar still fairly cheap. I don't love this game, though, on either side here. I messed around with some Mets last night to get some leverage off of Dustin May, and they shoved it right up my ass. So I don't love that. But Carson Bench is still cheap. Jared Young is cheap as a value. AJ Ewing, who can also steal 3,400. Some value upside bats, I think, are fairly interesting because it's still Andre Palante at the end of the day and that Cardinals bullpen behind him who's not good. So you could get there, but it would be more one-offs or kind of mini stacks. Really just the value guys for me. What do you see, though?
I see Michael W. Don't be touching that shit, buddy. We like you watching our show. Be careful out there. That's for sure. It seems like that's up your way, Nades, up there. But yeah, Michael, stay safe out there. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you on this game here. I mean, ground ball pitchers. I think I like Jordan Walker a little bit against Peterson if he come in. But like you said, he's probably going to miss him probably the first time out unless they get him out 1, 2, 3. But yeah, I mean, I don't like it. There's way better spots on either side. I definitely can't play any Mets. I mean, Benj, I mentioned yesterday, top of that lineup's been actually pretty hot, been hitting in recent times. But that's pretty much probably the only spot I'd even look at. The rest of them, I have no interest at all.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. Next spot here, Chris Sale on the mound, Davis Martin. Bad bullpen behind Davis Martin, but Davis Martin's been really, really good this year. Braves can really get to anyone. Michael Harris is red hot right now. Ronald Acuna, this dude's a walking mummy, I swear to God. Like, I thought the Braves were off and running, and then Ronald Acuna, like, pulls up in, like, the 4th inning or 5th inning, whatever it was. His hamstring popped again. So, yeah, I mean, that dude just cannot stay healthy ever. Matt Olson, I think, is an elite one-off for a lot cheaper than a guy like Jake Bauers or Nick Kurtz at the same position. Rinse and repeat of yesterday. Don't love it, though. From the stacking perspective, I do think the top of the Braves order, Harris, Albies, Olson, those 3 in particular, and then Dubon is a $3,200 guy if you need to get there. Don't love picking on Davis Martin, but again, especially in like your Braves or your A stacks or something like that, it feels gross leaving Nick Kurtz off. But if you pivot to a guy like Matt Olson or in the Brewers stack, you play Jake Bauers at outfield instead of first base and you throw Matt Olson in there, I think little things like that are easy ways to get to the top and be different than what your competition is playing. Overall, though, I don't love this game. Two good arms. Chris Sale, best arm on the slate. Not really going to any White Sox here either.
Yeah, I mean, it's just tough. I think Martin's given up 1 or 2 homers all damn year too, so it's kind of hard to play any Braves, especially when they just lost one of the best hitters in recent times in baseball to their lineup. I mean, that's just got to take the wind out of that Sale in that locker room, no pun intended, with Chris Sale. But either way, yeah, I mean, I don't like it. I think the Braves now are going to just downgrade it a little bit here, especially moving forward. Without Mr. Acuna. It is a shame that he keeps getting hurt. He's one of the better players in baseball. He's fun to watch. And to see a guy like that just get injured year after year, it's kind of like the Mike Trout thing, like it just seems like every year he's, half a year and he's done, or at some point doesn't seem to make it through the year. But yeah, that's a shame. Hopefully he can get back here soon. I know I pulled my hamstring trying to race some youngster, trying to do a 50-yard dash a few weeks ago, Nades. But that shit still hurts me, man. Like I was bending down, pick up my golf ball. I was like, woo. But that's a little tender there still. Like this old fool can't even bend down and grab his damn golf ball. But either way, yeah, I'm not a fan of these offenses. I mean, White Sox have been hitting lights out, man. Like if there's a team you want to take a shot on, I mean, I don't mind the White Sox. I mean, they're one of the top hitting teams in all of baseball in OPS the last 15 days. I mean, you're talking about them getting on at Chris Sale. I mean, who knows? Maybe Chris Sale's got a little side piece he still got out there in Chicago, Nades. He gets out a little last night. Maybe he was out late last night. You don't know, man. I've heard all kinds of stories. But, of course, I'm making that shit up. But either way, you never know. So White Sox for me, just because they've been hot. I mean, if I was playing a handful of teams, why not? I might go after Chris Sale a little bit. He'd definitely be on top of that line, top of the poll if you got the balls to play it.
Yeah, I think one guy, Miguel Vargas, kind of fits the build of the Matt Olson talk that I said, because you can play him at first base or third base. That dude mashes anybody. I don't care who it is. I know it's Chris Sale, but I don't care. The issue I have stacking the White Sox, though, is I know they've been really good. The Braves bullpen is one of the best bullpens in baseball, too, against probably one of the better pitchers in general in Chris Sale. So I don't love it, but a guy like Miguel Vargas is a one-off. I think makes a ton of sense on a slate where, I mean, you're going to get him at 1%, and the dude just continues to hit home runs left and right every single day, it feels like, unless, of course, I pick him and he doesn't make the lineup on Friday. But overall, I think, yeah, Miguel Vargas, Jacob Gonzalez, I don't even like him. Brady Montgomery, maybe he rides a hot streak. He's still 3K, hit a walk-off home run last night to win the game. $3K for him, little switch hitter there. Don't hate that. But yeah, Miguel Vargas by far probably him and Matt Olson probably it's probably Michael Harris, Olson, Miguel Vargas, my favorite plays from that game, if any, but not a great game for our offense. However, the next spot here is Gyiraszin. We know this park is going to play better and more hitter-friendly with the new dimensions here. It's now moved into 330 down the lines. The power alley is 377, which moved in a good bit, right, from what it was last year. But more so, it's the weather here in this one. 90 degrees, 20-mile-an-hour winds blowing straight out to left center field. And those winds are going to hold true for at least the first half of the game. You're talking 17 to 20 mile an hour, 90 degrees. Seth Lugo, kind of a contact arm, not going to get a ton of swing and miss. Rangers probably, all things considered, with their salaries and the matchup and the weather, probably come in as like one of the highest owned stacks, if not the highest owned stack on the slate, even when we're talking about Vegas and Coors Field, because it allows you to spend up to get to a guy like Chris Sale, who has a ceiling on the slate when majority of the other pitchers outside of maybe a Luzardo, something like that, right? I think the Rangers are a great play on paper. I'm a little worried about their ownership here, but Corey Seager looks like one of the better plays in the slate. Brendan Nimmo, Evan Carter, even Higashioka hits righties well. He's 2,700 at the back half. Not many people are going to get down there. So I think when you play the Rangers, I think adding in a guy like Evan Carter or Higashioka, right, who are going to be sub 10% in a stack that the top of the lineup is going to be 20% owned. I think that's interesting. Rangers on paper look really good here. Bad bullpen behind Lugo in general. Royals side, I don't love the Royals against a lefty, but Bobby Witt, Miguel Garcia, Sal Perez make a ton of sense. Lane Thomas, title owned me the other day with our guy Lane Thomas in there. 3K, he's getting pinch hit for as soon as Gore comes out of the game. So you're probably looking at 2 at-bats, maybe 3 at best. He could get it done. Caglianone hit 2 home runs last night. Lefty, don't love it. I'm more on the Mackenzie Gore side than the Royal side, but I think the Rangers make a ton of sense here. They're going to be owned, but again, you can play them differently than what the field, just by including guys like Evan Carter, who's projected to be right around 5% owned, still hits from the left side against Lugo. What do you see here?
Yeah, in this Kansas City game, I mean, Bobby Witt for me is always in plays. You mentioned Lane Thomas definitely is going to be a pinch hit risk. I mean, they got some power, but they got some strikeouts too that Gore can get to. But Gore's not been all that good here in recent times. But I just don't have the Royals up all that high. To me, they just don't have the power that I want here today against the Rangers. You mentioned a little bit of some weather issues. But, Bobby Witt would be in play. Now, Texas, I think, like you mentioned, the Optos are loving Texas just because their salaries. I think Seager is only, 4,300 on DK. And I think he's like 3,000 on FanDuel. I know he was yesterday. But, he's fairly cheap. So, I think that's why, if you X out Sale and lock your 2 pitchers in, like 2 lower owned or 2 cheaper pitchers, I don't think you're going to end up with as many Rangers stacks, just because you're going to be allowed to pay up for some bats. But I think the Rangers are definitely in play. Lugo has not been very good here in recent times. He gave up 3 homers his last start. He's been giving up runs left and right. His K percentage is down to 16% to the right side. He's at 21% to the left side. His fly ball percentage is 36% to the right side. So I'm not even afraid to use some righties against him, like a guy like Wyatt Langford or Josh Jung mixed in with the Nemos, who I like, and the Seagers, and even Peterson at the top of that lineup, Carter at the bottom. I think the only guy I probably wouldn't play is Lopez at the bottom. But I think, you can definitely go after, as you mentioned, the park, they move everything in. I do like the Rangers. If you take out the other 2 games that we're going to get to, I think the Rangers and Phillies would be at the top. I think I'd put the Rangers ahead of the Phillies just because of, the bullpen situation that we'd be facing in Toronto. So to me, if I take away the Vegas and the Coors game, this would be the offense that I feel like I would like the most. But yeah, Nate, I think the lefties are in a pretty good spot, but I think it's different. I think on DK, they're going to be a little higher owned. I don't feel as much so on FanDuel just because the pricing is so cheap. But I do think Corey Seager, it will be a pretty high owned shortstop just because he's 3K.
Yeah, right now we have ownership, the A's, then the Rangers, then the Brewers, then the Cubs. It's kind of how it sets up, and it makes sense, right? Because you can play Chris Sale, Jesus Luzardo, get off of the Reid Detmers chalk and play this Rangers who have an over and 5 implied run total with wind blowing out against a bad bullpen and a pitcher who isn't that great by any means in Seth Lugo there. So it makes sense. But I would like to play the back half there. Evan Carter stands out to me. 3,200, has power, has speed. Langford at 3,300 feels too cheap. But this whole offense is going to get owned. I just maybe you pair the Rangers with a team like the Phillies, right? And just say, hey, maybe the Rangers match the production of these other guys, and now you have the Phillies expensive one-offs or mini stacks like a Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, Brandon Marsh, and you didn't play the Cubs outfielders, you didn't play the A's outfielders, you didn't play the Brewers, and now you're different that way, right? So I think the Texas on paper, very, very good spot overall. I am slightly worried about a shitty offense in general that at high ownership on a slate where we have a 14.5 game total that's going to be equally or even less owned than the Ranger stack completely. Next spot on slate, Rockies and the Cubs. Coors Field here. Really good weather, obviously, again here tonight. Cubs didn't do their job last night. Much better matchup here for them overall. Sagano, not a great arm, but Lorenzen's even worse, right? It's going to be upper 80s, hot, humid here. Wind, not really a factor, but we know how this ballpark plays. You got a bad bullpen behind him. Lorenzen's got, I mean, his underlying metrics are just off the charts horrendous. Cubs right back on the well. It is nice, like I said yesterday, right, that you have the Brewers, you have the A's, you have the Cubs, and you have even now the Rangers, right, that all are pulling ownership from each other. If we didn't have those other spots, you'd probably see 150% combined ownership on this Cubs stack. Not going to be the case, so it's really take your choice between the Cubs, the Brewers, and the A's, however you rank them. They're all obviously great plays here tonight. For me, I'm more on the Vegas game than this game. I do have a lot more interest, though, on the Rockies side here tonight than I did last night. Imanaga, talked about it. He's a fly ball guy here. His breaking balls and stuff like that doesn't break as much in Coors Field and elevation. And Hunter Goodman, elite play. He's going to be fraction the ownership of a guy like Shea Langeliers or even William Contreras. I like him a ton. Tovar hit a bomb last night. He's 3,900 at shortstop. You got a cheap $2,500 rookie here, Cole Carrig, who they called up, switch hitter. I think he's a great value play. I like the Rockies a ton here, and they're going to be much lower owned than a team like Texas at very similar salaries, especially when you add in the back half here. What do you see in this one?
I mean, it's interesting. I think the Rockies, for me, are interesting, but, I mean, you look under the numbers. The Rockies have not been good against lefties at all. I mean, not at all. I mean, it's bad. I mean, even Goodman has not been good against lefty. I mean, he's got a 44% K rate. Like, holy crap. Like, that's freaking terrible. So, I mean, and the rest of these righties, I mean, Tovar, I mean, what else are we looking at? Maybe some Willie Castro. I mean, it hasn't been all that good, but Shote's just been giving up so many homers. And then you add in the Coors Field part. It's, definitely pick your poison here. I mean, do you want to go after the bats, which I think are definitely in an interesting spot today? I mean, Goodman still could hit a homer and strike out 3 times. But, I mean, I guess I would just lay caution to that. So that's why of the 4 teams, I do have the Rockies a little bit lower than the other 3. But, I mean, it was kind of that way yesterday. But I just feel like the Rockies are still in a decent spot today just because, if Shote was on like he was last year, I mean, to me, he would be in a great position here tonight. But, I mean, they do have some strikeouts to be had in this lineup against lefties. Tovar's at 33%. So the 2 guys I think that I could get to Shote with are the 2 highest strikeout guys. So, he's either going to give up a hit or he's going to strike these 2 out. I mean, there ain't going to probably be much in between. So, that was what I would lay caution. Now, as far as the Cubs, I definitely like some Cubs. Lorenzen is just, obviously not beginning to strikeout percentages. They're low, 16% to left, 15 to right. His fly ball percentage isn't all that bad, mid 20%, but he's been getting barreled up quite a bit against lefties, 15.5%. And we already know these Cubbies got some decent lefties, PCA, Ballesteros, Bush. We always like Bush, Happ, and then, they got some decent power over there, all with pretty good wobas against righties as well. So they're pretty patient team as well. The Cubs, the walk percentage for Lorenzen up at 9, almost 10%, 9.5%. So, he starts putting guys on, Nades. It could get ugly and twist really quick for Lorenzen. But yeah, I think the Cubbies are definitely in play. I mean, they frustrated me a little bit yesterday, but I think they'll be in a better spot here today.
Yeah, I do think. I would play you hitting from the right side against Shota Imanaga and Coors Field, right? I know the Rockies.
Trust me.
Yeah, I mean, I know the Rockies are terrible against lefties, but Imanaga, I think, is just. I mean, the dude gives up a shit ton of power, tons of barrels. So you got guys like Braxton Fulford, who is not great, but he has barreled up lefties this year at almost a 15% clip, which is good, which is right in line with what Shota already gives up. Hunter Goodman obviously barrels up. Chad Stevens is not a great prospect by any means. He's 27, really hasn't been able to crack the lineup, but he did have, I think, like 12 home runs or something and some stolen bases as well in AAA. And he's at second base, which is a weak position. Second base, third base, $2,500 against a lefty who has fly ball concerns there. So I think he's interesting. Cole Carrig, like I talked about, Tovar. So I like the back half here. I like Hunter Goodman, Tovar, Carrig, Fulford, Stevens. I think that's a very interesting play. Very interesting way to play the Rockies in the game. And then you can go up and spend up on either the A's, the Brewers, and then probably play 2 spend-up pitching options in Chris Sale and probably even get Luzardo in there as well and just avoid Reid Detmers at all in retrospect, right? So I think that's pretty interesting way to play it there. I like the righties for sure on the Rockies. Willie Castro, obviously, too. Carosis is cheap at 3,100 third base. And these guys all on the Rocky side in particular are at the same positions for either cheaper or similar price points to some of the guys like the A's, right? Max Muncy, Jeff McNeil, Geloff, some of those guys. And you don't really have to deal with much pinch hit risk overall. So I do like that quite a bit. 2 games left to talk about. The most important game to talk about here is the 14.5 game total out in Vegas. 105 degrees or 104 degrees at the start here. You got 10 plus mile an hour winds blowing straight out. The whole duration of this game, it's going to be mid 90s at the end, over 100 to start. You got Jack Perkins, who has been a bullpen guy. It's going to be more of a bullpen game here for the A's, I would expect. I think 5 innings max for Perkins. You're probably more looking at 4 innings here. Haven't pulled his outs prop, but I have to assume it's probably right around that 4 inning mark here. Let me just see. Yeah, 12.5. So that tells you right there. He's looking at 12.5 when it's heavy juice to the under. So you're looking at 4 innings there, and then you got 6 innings or 5 innings, excuse me, bad at math here, of the A's bullpen behind. Brewers is going to be the lowest owned between them and between the A's and the Cubs. Brewers, for me, are a full stack or bust. Perkins, kind of an unknown. We don't know a ton. And then you're playing the bullpen game as well. So guys like David Hamilton are some pinch hit risk there, but I don't think the A's have many lefties available personally, if I remember correctly. And their bullpen in general is super taxed after that first game. Love this game, both sides. Brewers, full stack or bust for me. The A's, I think you can still leave in. Overall, definitely have the A's higher, but at ownership, I think the Brewers come in lower owned and have just as much upside here. Obviously, the best game. My teams are going to be focused around this game. It's just a rinse and repeat. Like you said yesterday, I think that was the floor game, and we still saw 6 home runs, and it still went over the posted total. I'm right back on the ship here tonight. Give me both sides of this game. Love it on all cost here.
Yeah, Nades. I was just looking, kind of laughing here at these games. Like the last 7 days in team stats, the Brewers and A's have 33 homers, Nades, in 6 games each. Like they're averaging 5 homers a game. I know. Now the Brewers did play in Coors before they got out. Like what much that is? They get to go to Coors and then they get to go and play out in this Vegas stadium. Like talk about getting some stats padded up over there. Damn. But the Brewers got 14 homers in the last 7 days. I mean, obviously, when you hit, 11 homers in 1 day, 17 homers in 2 games in that series. And like I said, I think yesterday was the floor of what you're going to see I think today, obviously, Vegas has a higher total. They kind of feel this is going to be a little higher scoring game than yesterday as well. But yeah, I mean, I actually think, though, that I would prefer the A's side a little bit more than the Brewers, kind of like I did yesterday. Like I like attacking Sproat with the left side. Sproat 15% walk percentage. The lefties is Woba's 369. I mean, mid-ground ball lean, but he does give up some fly balls as well at 32%. Nick Kurtz, Soderstrom, I think are definitely all going to be in play. But yeah, I mean, give me everything about this game, man. I still think this game, we'll see maybe a dozen or half dozen or more homers in this game. We could see anywhere from 6 to 10 homers, I'm assuming, in this one here again tonight. So I'm all over this one. I'm going to stack this one up again every which way I can. Maybe throw in a little bit, maybe some Rockies or some Cubs mixed in, depending how I can figure out my pitching. But I mean, like I said, FanDuel has the other 4 games involved too. I mean, I like the Tigers a little bit offense wise on FanDuel a little bit, but yeah, I mean, this game for me is it, Nades. I mean, we're talking about a 14.5 total. I mean, damn, that's, I mean, you just don't see that. Like, you just don't. But I'm in. Sign me up.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I do prefer the A side. I will lay caution to a guy like Carlos Cortez, who probably hits in the top half of that lineup. I'd be shocked if Aaron Ashby doesn't come in this game. He didn't pitch yesterday. And if that's the case, Cortez is hitting the shelf. He's not going to hit against the lefty. Outside of that, you're probably, depending on if the lineup stays how it is right now, how we have projected, he's probably the only guy really that you have a pinch hit risk. And then you got Langeliers, Rooker, Bolte, these guys against the lefty then in general, right? So Cortez, he's a great play, but he is the biggest pinch hit risk. So I did want to call that out. And then on the Brewers side, after Jack Perkins, it's kind of up in the air on what happens, but Perkins is a fly ball guy too, which does help the case because the whole Brewers lineup outside of maybe 1 or 2 guys, Churio, Turang, Bowers hit the ball on the ground there. So that does help their case as well. I would say Sal Frelick, David Hamilton are probably the 2 biggest pinch hit guys there for the Brewers. Next game, or last game to talk about, Reid Detmers, Peter Lambert, 2 arms that I think are in play. Definitely Reid Detmers. However, I will throw out Gyiraszin, Jeremy Pena, Alvarez, Paredes is starting to hit the ball. Christian Walker is usually good against lefty. Detmers is good. The Astros against lefties don't strike out like they do against the right side. Detmers in single entry, 3 max stuff. Saber has Detmers projected at 70% owned right now in high stakes single entry. It's still a 7-game slate. There is other cheap pitchers to go to. I don't think some of the Astros is the craziest plays in the world. Probably not a full stack, but again, you still have a bad bullpen behind Detmers as well. It's not like Detmers is a Cy Young by any means. So Alvarez, Paredes, Walker, Jeremy Pena, I think those guys are pretty interesting. Cam Smith historically hits lefties really well. He's 2,900. I probably have a little bit more interest in the Astros than I should here, but it's just a game theory. When a pitcher is going to be 70% owned, I get the reason why. It's just as little 2-man, one-off mini stacks. You can play chalk everywhere else and play a 2-man Astro stack, and now your Vegas game stack or your Coors Field, your Cubbies, you're instantly different. And it's still 82 degrees in Angel Stadium with 7 to 10 mile an hour winds blowing out is what I'm seeing the whole duration of this game. So talk to me here to round us out.
I mean, I think this one's interesting, but I actually kind of like the other side of it with the Angels against Lambert, who has not been good against righties, a low 16.5% K rate. His WOBA's up at 360. His fly ball percentage a little higher. I mean, I like the top 2 dudes, Neto and Trout. Like, I think they're on par for me, where you could look at a little mini stack with those guys. I think those guys definitely have, a combination of like some of the other teams we have with some Rangers, the lefties that we like. We like some of the lefties on the Phillies. I think this kind of fits in there too with these 2 up here at the top of this lineup against Lambert. We know damn well that Houston bullpen really has not been good either. So I think that would be interesting for me on that side of it. They've both been Trout has been good, as we know, so far this year. I don't even mind Meckler from the other side. I mean, Lambert has a 17% walk percentage to the left side. He has not been good to the lefties either. So he definitely could get hit. So, but the barrels have been more on the right side. The fly ball percentage is a tad higher on the right side, but he just can't get the ball over the plate to the left side at all. So he starts walking guys, lengthening innings. I definitely like the two guys at the top of that Angel lineup. As far as the Astros go against Reid Detmers, I definitely know what you're saying. I don't mind. Alvarez has been really good actually against lefties himself. I mean, the dude can hit anything or anybody. I mean, he's been absolutely smashing it. But Pena, top in the lineup, you said 422 WOBA. He's been hitting lefties really well. I don't mind that at all. Reid Detmers, I mean, he's been better. He started out the season not so good. In his recent starts, he's been pretty good. I don't want to go there with too many Astros. I like Detmers enough to think where he's actually my SP1, and I don't really want to overthink it and try to jam in any Astros. I see your point about, playing some one-offs. I get it. It is a good theory, a good play. They do have a little bit of pop there at the top of that lineup. But maybe with a Walker, Paredes, or a Pena. But overall, Nate's pretty good slate. Almost kind of like yesterday. I'm just going to take the stance on this Vegas game. I mean, I see no reason why not to. Like we said, I mean, that was the floor game yesterday, I feel, and we still had a team hit 5 bombs yesterday. So definitely interesting. I think I'm going there. I'm going to figure out what my pitching is, where I got a little bit of room left. Pitching's way different on the two sites. As I said, Detmers is priced way higher up on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. He's much more attractive on DraftKings at that price. I think he's way underpriced on DraftKings. But either way.
I think I have a little bit more interest in some of the Astros as you do, just because I'm playing 20 max. I'm playing larger field stuff. And you look at the last month against lefties, this Astros team, 21% strikeout rate, but a 238 ISO. Alvarez, Pena, Cam Smith, Jake Myers, Walker, all of these guys, right? And even if you pull it back to the whole season, 20% strikeout rate as a team, almost a 10% walk rate, ISO approaching 200, WOBA 333. I mean, Detmers is going to be 70% owned in single entry and 3 max. I think there's much worse spots than to get some of these Astros. They probably get blanked here tonight, but I've seen much crazier shit happen. I did want to call out Wade Meckler. This dude continues to just murder baseballs, and he's 3,800, doesn't ever get a price bump. So he fits that. The top 3 Angels, I think, are in play for sure. That's all 7 games. Gyiraszin, your favorite pitching combination, your top 3 stacks, and a home run call for the people.
I mean, Chris Sale is definitely the top pitcher, but I want some bats. So I'm willing to go down to Reid Detmers. As I said, he'd be the guy that I'd be looking at. I got a tighter pool than probably most. I mean, I think Detmers, Sale, Palante is in Luzardo is about as far as I'd go. Probably on DK. I might throw in Kirby and Valdez over on FanDuel, and of course Shohei as well. I think he's right there with Sale. But as far as my favorite stacks, it's the 4 in that game: the Athletics, the Brewers, the Cubbies, and the Rockies. And I'd put them in that order in particular. For me, if you ask me the teams outside of that, like I said, I think Rangers are interesting. I think you got definitely I'd have some interest in some of those Phillies, as I said, and maybe those couple top bats of the Angels I do like a little bit too. But as far as the home run call goes, Nades, I'll stay away from those other games, and I am going to go. You know what? Well, I'm going to say Bryce Harper going to hit a home run. He needs to get back in my good graces. He's always been in my doghouse. I played him a couple live finals, took shit for me. I still don't forget. But either way, Nate, let's everybody remember 6:40 start over on FanDuel. They got the 4 more games, so you got about 36 minutes to get over there and get your lineup straight. But DK only has the 7 games. But yeah, a lot of fun. Hopefully we get in there, start getting some of these fun coupons in our account there, Nades. Always a good time. Always fun being on with you. I know won't see you tomorrow, but definitely look forward to talking some baseball with you next Tuesday when we get back on here.
No, absolutely. Always fun. For me, it's Chris Sale up top. And then I like Andre Palante quite a bit as well. So that's kind of where I'm going. My stacks, obviously, I'm going in heavy on the Vegas game. So both sides of that game, A's and the Brewers. But outside of that game, I think some of those Astros bats that I talked about, good leverage on this slate. I think they're on their own. And then the Phillies as well, not including, obviously, the Coors Field game there. So for me, my home run call, I was going to say Bryce Harper. I'm glad you said him because I'm going to his teammate. I'm going to Brandon Marsh. I'm riding the hot bat there. Lefties get to Max Scherzer. Brandon Marsh hitting good right now. I like his price point as well and the ownership. Give me Brandon Marsh to round out the show here. For Gyiraszin, I'm Nades. Good luck tonight in those contests. Hope to see those Ship It Nation logos at the top. We're out of here. Peace.